Here we are in step number 2 of the invisible part sew-in hairstyle. In this step, I will show you in detail how to do your braid pattern for this look. To begin, you want to make sure that you have your hair comb and your water spray bottle to help you part your hair and detangle your hair for your braids. When braiding your braid pattern for your invisible part style, you want to make sure that you have already established where your invisible part will be. If you would like your invisible part to be in the middle of your head, that's where you want to part your hair. If you would like it off center or to either side, you want to make sure that that is first where you part your hair to begin your braids. So I want my invisible part to actually be off center, kind of to the side but not directly to the middle of my head. So what I will be doing is parting a rectangular amount of hair on the side of my head with my comb. Use your water spray bottle to mist your hair as it helps you to part your hair and prep your hair for your invisible part section. The type of comb that I like to use when parting my hair has 3 separate size teeth on them, and they all serve for different purposes. The teeth here on the left side of my comb are the closest teeth that are closest to one another, and this serves as your typical comb. The teeth on the right side of my comb are the second widest apart, and this helps me with detangling my hair. It's also great for adding more body to an already straight or curly hairstyle. Also, the third set of teeth at the bottom of this comb are the furthest apart, and I also use these teeth to help me detangle my hair. This is also your typical afro pick, so you could use this to pick your hair as well. I will be using all sides of these teeth on this comb to help me part out a rectangular section of hair on my head. When parting your area of hair for your actual invisible part, you want to make sure that you part a rectangular size amount of hair. This ensures that your part is long enough and also that it looks more realistic as you do your sew-in. So as you can see, I have already parted my hair and I have clips to hold my hair on both sides. This part that you see here extends about 1/3 back towards my head. So I haven't parted at the middle of my head. I've went about from my hairline to 1/3 of the way up my head for my part. You want to make sure that the width of your part is probably about half a pinky size. This ensures that the braids will be close enough together and the part will not need as many braids when you are sewing on your extensions. So since this is your part here, the way that you want to braid your hair for your invisible part is that you will part your hair down the middle. Each side of the section will have braids that go away from one another. So from the part that will be in the middle, on this side where your hair is, all the braids will go in this direction. The braids that will be on this side of the part, all the braids will go in this direction. So on your part, all your braids will be braided away from one another. So to begin, take your comb, part your hair down the middle, and keep both sides separate for your braids. Now that I have created my part in the middle, I'm simply going to concentrate on one side at a time. So I'm going to concentrate on this side of my invisible part style, and I'm going to flat twist this hair out of the way. Now with this section of hair that you see here, you are going to braid small French braids that come away from the part for your invisible part style. To clarify a little bit more, I will explain what each section of hair is for. This flat twist that you see here will compose of French braids that go away from the part right here. So all of these French braids that will be from this flat twist will flow in this direction. This will be your visible part that will show once your entire style is complete. So on the other side of the part, with this hair here, you're going to have French braids that flow away from the part. So to begin, I will show you how to do your first French braid up top here. And you're going to take your comb and section off an amount of hair to begin your braid. So with my comb in hand, I'm going to pull my hair down just a little bit and part a small section of hair for my braid. So this is about how big my section is. So now I'm going to use my comb to hold the rest of the hair out of the way, and then I'm going to begin braiding this section. You want to make sure that all of your hair is out of the way so that other pieces of your hair does not get tangled within your braids. So now the braiding process begins. I'm going to pinch off a little bitty piece of hair that's closest to that part here because the braid needs to flow away from the part. So I'm going to pinch off a little piece there. Divide this piece into 3 parts. And then you're going to begin braiding. Your right hand with your index, thumb, and middle finger is going to be on one strand. And with your other hand, you have a strand in between your index finger and your middle finger. And the other strand is in between your index finger and your thumb. So now what you want to do, since your left hand has 2 strands, is to take your right hand, the index finger of your right hand, put it behind the 2 strands, and insert it in to grab that outer edge hair. Once you do that, you're going to scoop a little bit of hair from your scalp as well. So now my right hand has 2 strands of hair and my left hand has 1. I'm going to take my index finger, put it behind the 2 strands of hair, and hook this bottom piece of hair with my index finger, and grab a little piece of hair from my scalp. Continue to braid down until you reach near the bottom of your braid. I like to braid down probably about 2/3 of the way or a little bit more. And then you can leave the hair as is or continue to braid. But these braids will be added into another braid, so I like to just leave the ends a little bit undone to help me take down my hair later. So now, as you can see, here are your 2 small braids that you've braided. The rest of this hair here will be braided away from this part, as you see with these 2 braids. And then once you're done with this side, you're going to start where you have your twist, take that down, and part these braids away from this middle part as well. This area serves as the base of your invisible part style, and once you're finished and the hair is actually sewn on, this will be your visible part that will show through your style here. Now that I have finished braiding my braids for my actual invisible part section, this is what they should look like. The part that is in the middle of your braids will actually be your visible scalp that will show through your style. You want to make sure that on both sides of your part, the braids are being braided away from the part. This helps to lay your braids extremely flat as you sew on your extensions to each braid and as it forms your invisible part style. So now that you have your braids actually braided on your section for your invisible part, next will be braiding your perimeter braid. To braid your perimeter braid, the perimeter braid consists of 2 braids, but it's actually like 1 braid. You simply want to start where your hair is on your hairline and braid entirely all the way around the hairline of your entire head. As you braid as far over as you possibly physically can, you're going to start right back up top here where your hairline is, and you're going to continue to braid around the rest of your hairline and link the other braid in the back with that braid as well. So this process is certainly easy and not confusing at all. You're simply going to have a perimeter braid that has 2 starting points here where your hair is on your hairline, and they're going to go around your hairline here, go around your hairline here, and those 2 braids will meet up at the nape of your neck. So what I like to do is go ahead and take my spray bottle, give it a shake, and then I mist the section of hair around my hairline to help me part a medium to thin size braid around my entire hairline. So now I'm going to focus on this side, and what I like to do is use my comb, and then I just part hair along my hairline. So now I will be using my clips to keep my hair out of the way as I braid my perimeter braid. Now that my hair is sectioned on the right side of my head to begin my perimeter braid, I like to take the first braid that serves as the base of my invisible part and braid that into my perimeter braid. This helps to keep the braids in a direction that it's supposed to go and keep the style extremely flat. As I get to this side, once I cannot braid this side any longer around my hairline, I will take the first braid on this side of my head and braid that braid into the perimeter braid on this side of my hair as well. So to begin, I'm going to start on this side, and I'm simply going to just start braiding around my hairline until I can't braid back any further. Now to recap on how far you should be in your braid pattern process, as you see here, I have my braids here that serve as the base for the actual invisible part. I have my part here that will show through my style, and I have braids going away from the part on both sides. For my perimeter braid, I make sure to braid it around my entire hairline. I started on the right side of my head and continued with that first braid that serves for my invisible part base, and I continued to braid all the way around my entire hairline. Once I reached the left side of my head, I did the same thing, and I took the first braid on the other side of my actual invisible part where my scalp is, and I braided around my hairline as well. Next, what we will be doing is taking all of the rest of our hair and French braiding it all the way to the back. Once you have finished your braids, this is what your braid pattern should look like. this step, I showed you how to braid your braids for the base of your invisible part style. Then I showed you how you want to braid your perimeter braid and then to French braid all of your hair to the back as well. When all of your hair is braided, you want to make sure that you connect each braid to one another. When you finish, you should only have one braid that hangs down on the side of your head. If your hair is short, you could simply take that braid and tuck it underneath another braid. If your hair is longer, you could actually use your needle and thread and sew the braid flat down to your head. In a future step, I will show you exactly how to sew with your needle and thread. So now that your braid pattern is finished, in the next step, step number 3, I will show you how to sew your wig cap down onto your head and how to sew on your hair extensions.